Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe.
My name is Jeff.
And we're going to answer your questions today. But first, I have a question. Jeff.
Yep.
How are you doing today?
All right. I'm all right.
Yeah.
Still having weird throat issues.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got over a cold 3 weeks ago at this point, and it's still kind of just ugh.
I hear you.
So, I mean, I otherwise am fine. I just have still have chest congestion and sore throat and stuff like that. But I think it's just a lingering symptoms.
Yeah.
I think I tend to get this sort of thing every once in a while where I get sick and it just doesn't want to go away.
Sure.
But
well,
I have plenty of energy. I don't have a fever. I'm not contagious. It's just, ugh.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To date this podcast, maybe you have the coronavirus.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm sure you don't.
No.
But yeah. So when people are listening to this, when this is inducted into the National Hall of Records or whatever,
sure, right,
and people are listening to this in the year 4000,
yeah,
they will look back and say, "Coronavirus. What the heck is that?"
Well, I mean, well, that's the name of a type of virus,
right? The common cold is a coronavirus,
right. But I mean, if this is the virus, then I'm kicking its butt.
There you go.
But
that's the attitude right there.
Right, sure.
I've been making.
No, wash your hands right now. Do it.
I'm making you can't see it, listeners, but I'm making a gesture I'm not even really
he's making Play-Doh spaghetti, really
kind of. I'm just rubbing my hands together very quietly so it doesn't come up
you're rolling meatballs over there.
Yeah.
No, you got
I'm just rolling meatballs over here. We need to make that an expression.
Is that our new catchphrase?
That's our new catchphrase.
I'm just rolling meatballs over here.
So I've been making some modifications to my 3D printer, and that's been pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I made an enclosure for it, so now it's in its little glass case, basically.
Yeah.
And it keeps heat in, so if I'm making something that needs especially high temperatures, it doesn't cool too fast.
Right. It keeps a more consistent temperature.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna set it up so I can have webcams in there watching the thing. Because hey, if I was at work, I'd like to be able to go on my phone and go on Twitch and watch my
on Twitch and watch your 3D printer.
I don't think they allow that, but
yeah, I don't know if they do. You probably could, but I don't think they'd ever let you monetize it.
There was once a guy who he went on Twitch and his stream, it was titled he was going to be playing some new wrestling game, but in reality he was just streaming a pay-per-view boxing match that was on that day.
Oh, right.
And there's him in the corner and he's got his controller and he's acting like he's playing straight faced the entire time. But basically it was just so that he would it was him letting all of his
friends
his viewers watch this pay-per-view fight. And he of course got banned by Twitch.
Sure.
But I've watched it's hilarious. He's sitting there he bobbing and weaving his head as he's quote unquote controlling the boxer.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, good time.
Yeah, because they really don't want people monetizing their sleep and stuff like that.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that they don't want you doing on there, and it probably for good reasons. Some of them are a little silly.
Now hang on a minute. If people are willing to watch someone sleep, all the power to them.
Well,
come on.
I don't know the exact reasons why they wouldn't allow that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There could be some safety stuff in it could have to do with safety in somewhere in there.
I suppose.
It's who knows? The person is unconscious. They are unconscious, even if they were the ones that set up the cameras. They're an unconscious person on video with people watching them live.
So hang on, you're saying that we're not supposed to watch people while they're unconscious?
Don't stare at people while they're sleeping, Gabe.
Okay. I feel like I should cut that part out. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it in. You want to go ahead and jump into this episode?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. I want you to imagine that you've just come back from an adventure, and you are you've got all the treasure and stuff. You and your party members, you're divvying it up. You're sitting on the floor, and you've got big piles of gold, and you're counting it out and everything like kids on Halloween.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
And it gets to a point where it's your turn to get treasure, and you see there's like a scroll, and you think to yourself, "Oh, cool, that's a scroll. I'm going to use that scroll for something." So you grab it, then you unroll it, and you realize it appears to be a blank piece of parchment.
Oh.
And that's frustrating.
Dang.
So you, in anger, you throw that thing over by the window. You just throw it away. Get rid of it. Whatever. Well, later that night, you get up to go get some milk out of the fridge or something. I don't know. And you glance over at the window, and you see there's that piece of parchment laying on the floor in front of the window.
Mm-hmm.
And you go over to pick it up to throw it in the garbage or something. And then you notice something. You pick it up, and you could have sworn there was something on the parchment, but now that you're holding it and you're like holding it up to your torch by the fridge, you open up the fridge, and the fridge's torch in there illuminates it, and you don't see anything. And so you wonder what's going on. You're scratching your head, you're wandering around, and then you realize that it's the moonlight that activates the writing on this parchment. And you realize this isn't a blank piece of parchment. Do you know what this is, Jeff? This is a map.
What's it? Oh, where does it lead to?
It's a map that leads to the Dragon's Hoard. Today's magic item was submitted by Arcanist Winterbrand via email. And stay tuned, because there is going to be a lot more of Arcanist Winterbrand this episode, I think.
Oh, sure.
He submitted several items and a lot of questions. So
yeah.
So we will probably be covering Arcanist Winterbrand stuff for some time.
Right.
But anyway, the item today is the Armor of Moonlit Graves. This is a rare item that requires attunement.
Okay.
This black armor is adorned with obsidian skulls, and sharp edges give the armor a menacing appearance.
Nice.
This +1 studded leather armor has 3 charges per day and recharge when bathed in the moon's light.
Ooh.
You may spend 1 charge to make yourself or one willing creature you touch unable to be detected by any undead with a wisdom score of 13 or less.
Nice.
An undead with a wisdom of 14 or more may make a wisdom perception check against your passive hide check, 10 plus your stealth score.
Right.
On a success, that undead is unaffected. In addition, you gain dark vision out to 60 feet if you don't have it already. These effects both last 1 hour.
Nice.
So again, that's 3 charges per day, and it gives you the you or the person you touch invisibility to undead for an hour, as well as dark vision for an hour. I'm not sure if the dark vision is to you or to the person you touch, if you touch someone else, but in either case, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think of this item?
I think that's pretty cool. Being able to be undetectable to a specific type of monster is pretty neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like the idea of being invisible to undead. There is an item in the Monkey Island series. It is a necklace made of eyeballs.
Ooh, okay.
That makes you invisible to ghosts. So you
interesting.
Because in the game you end up trying to let you sneak onto a ghost ship.
Okay.
And in order to not be detected, you have to put on this necklace that makes you invisible to ghosts, and you just become like a little outline. And it's just I thought that was kind of neat. Because ghosts are normally kind of like they can turn invisible, or they're kind of see through and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But there's a magic item that makes you invisible to the ghost.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. It was the necklace. You have to convince a talking shrunken head to give it to you because he's wearing it.
Okay.
And you have to say can I have that necklace? And he's like, no, I'm wearing it. I don't want the ghost to see me. So you end up arguing with a shrunken head.
And is that the one where you insult?
Yes, that's
enemies.
Yeah, that's the one where the combat system is insults and comebacks.
Okay.
And then you're sword fighting, but you're doing an insult and using comebacks and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
But no, I like something that something that makes you invisible to a specific creature.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting.
I love that.
And that can be used in certain ways, like detecting like figuring out if somebody's like a vampire or something.
Ooh, okay.
Like, you know, they could maybe succeed on the check.
Yeah.
Because a vampire, I would imagine, would have the high enough wisdom.
Sure.
But if they like if they're kind of look at you funny and then they go, oh, you know, like you might suspect like, okay, this person might be undead. Like this might be a vampire or something.
This was so that in 3rd edition there was a spell called Hide from Undead, if I'm not mistaken, that did exactly this. So like, I mean, this is a thing that existed, like a spell that made you invisible to a specific type of creature.
Right.
I don't think it exists in 5th edition though, and I would love to see more. I would love to see more types of that type of ability. But I think it's really cool. I also love that it recharges while in the moon's light.
Right.
Because so many items, there's like, oh yeah, it gets its things back at dawn.
Yeah, like 1d4 plus 1 charges at dawn.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, I guess. But like,
yeah,
what if I would like to see more magic items that had conditions like this? Because it's not just every night it comes back.
Right.
You have to be in the moonlight for it to come back.
So if you're trapped in a dungeon for a day or two, like you're not going to get hit by moonlight.
Yeah. What if there was a magic item that it gets its charges back when it's submerged in water?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Something like that. Or when it is like plunged into a bonfire or something.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, maybe you'd have to limit that to magic. Like, because the question is, what if you bathe it in moonlight more than once? I mean, I know this description also says 3 charges per day.
Yeah.
But like, this makes me wonder, could you make items that instead of being limited by time are limited by circumstance?
Sure.
So, I mean, if you're in water, that water recharging item is infinitely active.
Sure.
But if you're not, you can't use it,
Right, yeah. So like if you're just like, if it's like a swimming heavy adventure, would it just keep recharging itself?
Yeah. So like I think that with certain items that could be really cool.
Yeah.
Having something that in the right situation has unlimited charges.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if this item would be better if you get rid of the charges per day and just make it, you have 3 charges that recharge whenever you're in moonlight.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So like, just like on the full moon, you're unstoppable against undead.
Yeah. I think that's a really cool effect.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
The magical effect is the rarer the like condition is.
Okay.
So like it might be specifically moonlight.
Sure.
Or, it might be like not just water, but it has to be holy water, or it has to be,
or like a hot spring,
or or it has to be like swamp water.
Sure.
So like, so like you make it more powerful, or it could be that it gets more powerful effects the more specific you get.
Ooh, okay.
So like when it's submerged in water, it gets a charge. It gets like there could be like 3 spells that spell like effects that it has.
Yes.
One costs 1 charge, one costs 2 charge, one costs 3 charge, or something like that.
Yeah. And
like in order to get, in order to get 1 charge, you just can put it in water. But in order to get 2 charges, you have to put it in, spring water or something, so like it gets more powerful the more pure the water is, or something like that.
Okay. Or I mean, if you were concerned about the power or something like that, you could say it gets 1 charge per hour of contact with water,
right?
Or
sure.
per hour of moonlight or something.
Yeah, so that like, when you're charging it up for the night, you make sure that it's in in a nice clear spot where the moon can hit it. So you gotta so when you go to camp for the night, you make sure like, okay, I gotta make sure to sleep under the moon,
Right. But as far as the actual effects of this, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I've had a character that hated undead, my barbarian Ichi,
right,
that I've talked about many times. So he would have been all over this armor would have been all over him.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
So yeah. Like I said, it's a really cool item. Good job, Arcanist Winterbrand. I don't really have much else to say about it. So, Jeff, if anybody wanted to submit magic items for us to discuss in the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the Funeral Pyre or Retirement Village, or if they had questions for us to discuss, how could they get those to us?
They could send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com or join us on our Interparty Discord at bit.ly/interpartydiscord.
That's correct. And before we go any further, we have a giveaway to give away today.
Oh, we do.
Yes, we are giving away a copy of Unearthed Tips and Tricks Volume 1 from Crit Academy. It is a great book. It has it's a collection of 25 character concepts, 25 encounter concepts, 25 monster variants, 25 magic items, 25 player tips, and 25 DM tips. And it's a great product from a great group of guys. I helped write it as well, so I'm especially proud of it. So yeah, it's a great product. Who is our winner of this great product today?
Our winner is Jeff R. Winner.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Wait a minute. Whoa, Jeff won? But Jeff, you're Jeff.
I am a Jeff, but I am not this Jeff.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jeff R.
Yeah.
You should be getting that in your email pretty soon. Be sure to leave Crit Academy a review so they can continue to make great products. Also, if you have any specific criticisms or compliments or whatever, you can submit those to me because I'm currently working on Volume 2.
Yeah.
I'm getting pretty close to being done.
Or you can let me know at the next Jeff meeting.
I love the idea of just a Jeff meeting.
Jeff meeting, yeah.
And speaking of Jeff, if somebody wanted to enter this drawing, if they wanted to be like Jeff here, not Jeff here.
No, not here.
I say as I point to you.
Right.
But Jeff here as I point to Jeff R's name on my computer screen.
Right.
How would they enter this drawing?
They could send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com with unearthed tips and tricks in the subject line.
Yes, not a Jeff mail, an email.
Right?
Yes. All right. And then I want to thank all of our wonderful patrons for helping make this show happen. Patreon is an online platform where you can pledge a certain amount of money per month to donate to your creator of your choice. And in return, you get some cool stuff. So we have a Patreon at patreon.com/InterPartyConflict. We've got some rewards on there. And I think we just decided we were going to add a few little small things on there as well.
Right, yeah, some like personalized recordings and such.
Yes, but then the primary rewards, I guess, we've got outtakes. There's going to be a lot of them from this episode. We've already had several tangents that I will have cut out. Outtakes, we've got a monthly bonus podcast every month called InterPatronConflict, where we talk about a variety of topics. We've got a Roll20 game, which as of this recording, we're going to be doing our Roll20 game tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm very excited about that. So yeah, we've got some cool, I think there's some other stuff on there too, but if you want to support the show and get some cool stuff in return, go to patreon.com/InterPartyConflict. There's a few different tiers, so look them over, see if anything appeals to you, and if so, you can help us out and get some cool stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you again to all of our wonderful patrons. They're helping keep the lights on, cover hosting feeds, and help us get, cool stuff to make the podcast better. So thank you all. And then one more thing, check out the other podcasts on the Crit Nation Fellowship. Check out Crit Academy at critacademy.com. Justin, Ian, and Brandon create new and reusable content for players and DMs alike. Check out Brute Force and Ignorance. They are an actual play podcast on the network. And also check out D&D Character Lab. They're no longer making episodes, but they made characters every week and pitted them against each other to debate whose were better.
Yeah.
Let's get into some questions, Jeff.
Our first question comes from Arcanist Winterbrand. This was on email, and they ask, as a DM, can you give some suggestions on how to create scenarios that use those underused skill checks? I'm looking at you, acrobatics, animal handling, performance, and religion.
Yeah. So there's a healthy amount of skills in this edition. I would say not as many as previous editions.
Sure.
I know in 3rd edition and Pathfinder, there were quite a few more, and a lot of them were more specialized and such. But even though they trimmed down and they kind of combined some stuff, there are still ones that don't really get used very much.
Right, yeah.
Now, of the skills that do exist, some of them are pretty obvious and probably get used a lot. Perception. Everybody uses perception.
Yeah, it's passive on the character sheet and stuff.
Insight, similarly, is pretty self-explanatory.
Right.
Sleight of hand, stealth, survival, history, arcana, all the knowledge skills. Those are pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, Arcanist Winterbrand was singling out acrobatics, animal handling, performance, and religion. I think there's probably one or two others on here that we could probably mention if we feel like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are some scenarios that might use some of these skills.
So acrobatics, you typically think of it as like, that's usually what you'd use for like a balance check.
Yep.
You know, like if like the ground starts shaking or something, use an acrobatics check to keep your footing.
Yep.
I remember there I think it was in Storm King's Thunder, like one of the earlier adventures, there's like a bridge that has like a gap in it.
Okay.
And like the bridge kind of is on a slope.
Yeah.
And so if you're jumping up the bridge,
okay,
it's an athletics check.
Yeah.
Jumping down the bridge, it's an acrobatics check.
Okay.
Because you're jumping up because you're trying to get the height, and then you're trying to like, you know, climb up onto the bridge. But jumping down, it's easier to make the gap, but you have to, you know, stick the landing.
You want to land softly enough that you're not just going to smash through the next plank.
Exactly. So
okay.
So yeah, so I always think of acrobatics versus athletics in kind of in that way, where it's like, you know, athletics is up, acrobatics is down.
Sure.
Because if you're falling down, you want to use your acrobatics to maybe like, you know, land softly or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to get up somewhere, you're gonna be climbing rocks and, you know, and all that stuff.
Acrobatics is, we've said before, like I think we really got our start in 3rd edition, and so I'm kind of going to be in my mind comparing this to the skills that used to be acrobatics in 3rd edition.
Yeah.
In 3rd edition, there were several skills that have since been folded into one skill.
Right.
Balance is one of them. What you mentioned, balance is an important part of acrobatics.
Yep.
So if the ground is shaking, if you're on a bridge that somebody's trying to cut and you're trying to safely get across it before they do,
right,
acrobatics would be used for that. Another one is escape artist. If you were tied up, you would use an escape artist check, or in this case, acrobatics check, to get out of it. Similarly, if there's a really tight space you're trying to squeeze through, you could use acrobatics for that as well, because it's how well you can move your body into, you know, you can carefully move your body into the right position to squeeze through.
Right.
Tumble is another one. Tumble was a very huge. Useful skill in 3rd edition.
Tumble was like half of the edition.
Every single character I ever played had at least 5 ranks in Tumble.
Right.
Every character. Because number one, it let you get out of, I mean, you can't do this in 5th edition, but it was used in 3rd edition to get out of melee range without provoking an attack of opportunity.
Right, yeah.
So you could basically like flip out of someone's threatened space without them hitting you.
Yeah.
Also, it could be used to reduce fall damage. That it was like the DCs were pretty high.
Right, but
I think they introduced it in the epic level handbook, if I'm not mistaken. But a non-epic level character could do it if they rolled high enough.
Right, yeah. You would tell Tumble to take less damage, you know, like the parkour sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or you know, when you'd roll as Link in Ocarina of Time to reduce falling damage.
Yeah. Also, you could use Tumble to, if you had 5 ranks in Tumble, you got a bonus on your AC when you use the fighting defensively ability, which barely anybody ever did. But how you could use that in 5th edition is, I would maybe say, if you make an acrobatics check, certain other skills you would have advantage on. Or something. Like if you're trying to make an acrobatics check while you are climbing down from something, you either have advantage on the athletics check to climb, or you take less damage when you fall, or something. I don't know.
Sure.
So you could use acrobatics to kind of, DM willing, of course, use acrobatics to try and boost other things that you're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was like skill synergies.
There were. If you had 5 ranks in certain skills, you would get a like +2 bonus to certain other skills.
Right, yeah.
And Tumble gave you several.
Yeah. Tumble was just you wanted Tumble. You wanted at least a few ranks in Tumble.
Yeah. So I would say, depending on the situation, certain jumps could be acrobatics based rather than athletics based.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you were saying, jumping down from a thing would be, from this particular thing would be acrobatics, whereas jumping up the thing would be athletics. I would say maybe like if you're trying to jump over something, but maybe jump through like a small space.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're trying to like jump through a closing door scenario.
There you go. If you're trying to slide under a door.
Yeah, do it Indiana Jones
Acrobatics,
style.
definitely,
Make sure you grab your
exactly.
hat on the way through. Yep.
Sure. Yeah, so like anything that is kind of any generic dexterous thing. I know that there's a couple other dexterity skills, but like I can't think of many things that sleight of hand or stealth would cover that would overlap with acrobatics. So I think pretty much anything else could be acrobatics.
Here's an idea. If you think maybe that acrobatics is completely underused or it's pointless or something like that,
Okay.
you can make it a little overpowered
Okay.
by like
I like where you're going.
so a lot of people like to put a little some people like to put a little flourish on like what they're doing with their character when they're attacking or something like that.
Sure.
They like, leap off of a table and slam down on the enemy or something. They might do something that sounds a little crazy that the DM might even look at them and go, I'm going to have to give you disadvantage for that because it's ridiculous. But really, they're just attacking.
Sure.
Like, they're just putting some extra, flavor on it.
Putting some stank on it.
Putting some stank on it. Putting some English on it. So maybe you could say, like, all right, roll an acrobatics check. And if they roll, high enough, like, maybe if they, with the acrobatics check, beat the AC of the whatever they're attacking, you could give them, like, advantage, or maybe you give them maybe that's a way to like mechanically give people inspiration or something.
Sure.
They like when they successfully like flavor, like they put a little flourish on their attacks or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So like like they could like, okay, I do a round off back handspring triple cell cow, and then I do like a roundhouse kick. It's like, all right, DC 20 acrobatics check.
Sure.
And if they make it, I don't know, maybe give them advantage on their attack or something. And if they don't, whatever, like it's just fun.
Sure. So yeah, acrobatics, to sum up, I would say look at what acrobatics used to be in earlier editions. And so balance is one of them. Mm-hmm. Escape artist is another.
Right.
And tumble. I think those are like the three main ones. Those three are very, very useful things that might come up at times, and acrobatics can cover any of those.
Which it is part of the like the grappling mechanics. Like
it is.
If you're escaping a grapple, you can use either
athletics or acrobatics. Yeah,
because the idea is you're slipping out of their grasp.
Yeah.
So, what about the So he says religion, but I could say like really most of a lot of the like knowledge skills I don't know, they're kind of weird. Like what falls into what? Like what falls into nature versus arcana?
Sure.
Or what falls into religion versus arcana? Like because like is religion, because there was knowledge. What was it? It was like there was like knowledge. What were all the knowledges from third edition?
Shoot, there was knowledge arcana, knowledge history, knowledge architecture and engineering.
Yeah, there was
knowledge nature.
There was knowledge religion.
Knowledge religion, and then knowledge the planes was one that I don't think was
in the core books.
Core stuff.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, so knowledge of the planes, I would say, could fit under religion. If you're trying to do, because the gods live on other planes, so knowing your god's domain is probably within the purview of religion.
Yeah.
Also, knowledge undead is something that we would use knowledge religion for quite a bit.
Yeah. Wouldn't some planes maybe fall under arcana?
Maybe.
Or nature?
I think there's definitely some overlap.
Like knowledge the planes, like the elemental planes, or like the plane, like the plane of the Fae or whatever.
Sure.
Maybe that would fall under knowledge nature.
Maybe.
It's like, so like I feel there is some weird overlap, and it's hard to say like, what if I want my character to have knowledge of the plane of the Fae? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, well that's obviously nature, so I put all my points in nature, but the DM's like, no, that'd be knowledge religion.
Yeah, I mean, if the DM says so, I guess that's what the DM says.
Yeah, but again, that's one of those things where players and DMs should talk before should talk before the game starts about your hopes. Learn all the hopes and dreams of your players.
Sure.
And like, but a lot of times players like to hold that a little close to the chest because they feel like it's going to get taken away from them.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean, if you're the dungeon master and one of your players is like, oh, if I had known that, I wouldn't have taken this skill. Let them take a different skill.
For sure. Yeah.
If you can tell that what they're trying to do, would be better served by having a different skill, and maybe it's because they didn't realize that's how you were playing it. Just let them. I think people a lot of DMs get too hung up on not letting their players change anything. You have to decide all this at the beginning of the campaign, and then after that, you're ruining the fiction if you change anything. No, like stuff gets retconned in fiction all the time.
Right. True.
It's fine. Mm-hmm. So for religion, I do think that knowledge of the planes and knowledge of undead are two things that could definitely fit into.
Right.
It could also fit into nature. Could also fit into arcana. But
right. But I feel like those are two solid things that are like very prominent in adventures that could go well in that skill.
Also, maybe if there's somebody in your group that has knowledge, I keep wanting to call it knowledge religion. It's just religion.
Yeah.
If somebody has religion, then, like if there's like a temple that, has a puzzle or something that has religious iconography, maybe let them use a religion check to gain some sort of bit of knowledge about that puzzle or something.
Yeah. Using the knowledge skills to kind of like help, like give hints if need be.
Yeah, maybe if you're trying to use a disguise check or a deception check rather to pose as someone that is religious.
Yeah,
make a religion check to see how well you're able to do the religious things. Like let's say you're posing as a priest and you accidentally find yourself up in front of the congregation. You're supposed to give a sermon.
Right.
Make a religion check, see how well you can, BS your way through a sermon about, whatever this God is or whatever. So I don't know. I think I have fewer suggestions for this one, but I think maybe the issue is just you don't have enough things in your campaign that deal with religion.
Maybe.
Yeah. I find pantheons and such to be one of the most interesting parts of a campaign setting.
Sure.
So I tend to use religion stuff fairly often, but undead is definitely something the players are going to come across.
Yeah, for sure.
Have them make a religion check. Fiends and angels are something that are probably going to pop up at some point. Make religion on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about animal handling?
Animal handling, like when does that ever get used?
Well, I feel like every time it does get used wrong.
Sure. I don't know how it's used. Like I don't know the mechanics of it.
Okay. Well, here's the first thing you need to know. Everybody needs to know about animal handling. It is a wisdom-based check. It is not
right. I'm
going to make this animal my friend.
Right.
Like you can use it to calm down a wild animal, but it's not a persuasion check for animals.
Sure.
That would be persuasion. Possibly with disadvantage because you can't talk to them.
Yeah.
But according to the player's handbook, what animal handling is, when there is any question to whether you can calm down a domesticated animal, keep a mount from getting spooked, or intuit an animal's intentions, the DM might call for a wisdom animal handling check. You can also make a wisdom animal handling check to control your mount when you attempt a risky maneuver. And that's all the book says. Primarily, it seems to be about mounts. Mm-hmm. In earlier editions, it was also for training an animal, not befriending an animal, but because again, it's wisdom. It's not like charisma. You're not like, hey, come here, be my friend. Yeah. You are trying to think, what is the best way to teach this animal long term?
Sure. Yeah, because like if you were using like the speak with animals spell or something, like you wouldn't be using animal handling. You'd be using persuasion. You'd be using persuasion because you're talking to them.
Exactly. So like it's with trying to teach them, you are trying to tell what is the best way to get them to understand you.
Yeah. Yeah, because like a lot of times when you think animal handling, you're like, okay, this is what players use to get pets. you know? Like this is the pet training. This is the Pokemon skill.
Don't So I mean, the question is, what are some scenarios that will use these underused skill checks? I think the issue with animal handling is that a lot of people don't do the things that it is meant for.
Sure.
If you really want to, if you have a player in your group that really wants to use it to befriend a wolf or something, okay, you can probably do that. That, I would recommend, though, have them use their charisma modifier instead of their wisdom modifier, because you can use different ability scores. You can make a strength-based intimidation check.
Yeah.
It's just that it's intended to be this originally, but if the circumstance calls for it, it can use a different ability score. So feel free to let them use that proficiency with their charisma modifier if they are, in fact, trying to befriend an animal or in some way, get an animal's control and to persuade an animal to do something.
Yeah.
I think that would make more sense than just doing an animal handling check. I think it would also possibly make more sense than doing a persuasion check, depending on the situation. Or just try to have more situations where knowing an animal's body language is important.
Right. I just feel like if a group of adventurers comes across a dog that's like, aggressive, they're just going to kill it. or they might just walk away or something. I don't know.
They'll walk at least 20 feet from it and then fireball.
Yeah, I think people got to bring more animals into their adventures, like that, like animals that are like there to solve a puzzle.
Sure.
Like the dog is the key, like to a door. So you got to get a dog to pee on a door. That's where my brain went.
Dear. I was picturing you come to a door and there is a dog-shaped hole in the side of the door.
There's a doggy door.
Yeah.
There's a dog.
That's not even what I meant. I meant like a keyhole.
Right.
But I like that even better.
You got to stick the dog in and turn it.
Yep. Or you stick the dog in and then behind the door, there is a hamster wheel that the dog then has to walk on, because you're turning the
keys,
the bolt or whatever. But in this case, it's the dog.
Oh, puppies.
Yeah. And now my mind is going somewhere even darker. I'm combining it with Junji Ito's The Enigma and Amigara Fault, where you put the dog in the hole and now the dog can only move forward.
Why does that have to keep coming back? That haunts me. Oh my goodness. Oh no.
So this is our Halloween episode, everybody.
Jeez.
So yeah, I think the problem here is that animal handling, I always feel like it is underused because it's a very specific thing. I almost feel like maybe
it doesn't need
it should be it should be folded into either nature, insight, or persuasion.
Yeah. I mean, could be.
Yeah. I don't know. You got anything for performance? I mean, other than the obvious, performing.
Because like when you think of performance, you think of like a bard or something. Yep. But like the performance skill check, I don't think comes in mechanically with anything with the bard. Not really. No, it has. You can use it for downtime activities, if I'm not mistaken. You can use it to make money in your off time. Yeah.
I think it used to be
like you had to make performance checks to like do.
No, because there are certain abilities. I think there's like you can enthrall like a big group of people by making like the Bard of Glamour or something.
Possibly. That might be right. Yeah, maybe some of the I think the glamour one is in
Ignore my sounds as I flip through the book to find the bard section.
Is the glamour one in Xanathar's?
I think it's in Xanathar's.
Yeah, so there might be a performance check with that. Like, you enthrall them, and if they're enthralled, then you can use the command spell on them as like a bonus action or something like that.
Yeah, I don't have that book handy. I think there is a performance check involved in there.
So yeah, but I mean, like it's not like a base. It's not this. It's like a standard. It's not a standard thing with the bard. Like bards have like the bardic dice and stuff. You just you use your inspiration, and that's it.
I want to say in 3rd edition there were certain bard abilities that were limited by the number of ranks you had in perform.
That might be right. Yeah. Because I'm trying to remember if there was like you had to make a performance check every time you used a bardic song or something.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, but I would say maybe allow someone, a spellcaster, possibly a bard, to make a performance check to hide or to hide the verbal and somatic components of a spell. Doesn't mean that nobody can see them, but maybe if someone does see them, they have to make a perception check in order to recognize it as an arcana check or a perception check or something to recognize it as spellcasting.
Right, yeah. So yeah, you're hiding the verbal components as singing, and you're hiding the somatic components as like a dance or something. So like you could potentially confuse the person whether or not you're casting a spell. They might just think like, oh, okay, like, oh, all right. So casting like illusion or charm spells in plain sight.
Sure.
But they might not, realize that's what's going on because they're kind of, they're distracted by your performance.
Maybe. And then, if you're trying to relay information to somebody, maybe have them make a performance check to see how well they're able to do so, how well they're able to tell that story. If you were in a horrible fight and, everybody's in danger and you need to get the town guard to come and help you or something like that, sure, you could make a persuasion check. Maybe you could make a performance check to see how well you can accurately tell the story of what happened to get everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, using performance as sort of like a different kind of persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
It might, it's not going to work in all situations, but in the situations that somebody playing maybe a bard would want to do, like they don't want to be, they might not want to be like the main talker of the group, but maybe they want to be the person that kind of like schmoozes their way into things.
Sure.
By performing.
Another thing that performance comes into play during is teaching. If you're trying to teach somebody a skill,
sure.
Like, I mean, I've taught a lot of people to play D&D and such, and it's very much a performance.
That's true.
Like there is a measure of, there's quite a bit of charisma involved. There's also a measure of, training on my part. Like I have trained up to the point where I am proficient in this skill.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that trying to teach somebody something is definitely a performance-based skill.
Magic tricks. Not magic, but magic tricks.
Yeah. This is a thing kind of like acrobatics. I feel like if there are opportunities the DM lets someone make a performance check to augment a different check.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of applications for that.
Yeah.
If you can make a performance check to augment a deception check.
Right.
That's cool. Or to augment a disguise kit or something like that. That's definitely, that makes sense to me. As far as how it's going to affect that, I don't know. It's going to depend on the DM. It's going to depend on the situation. Maybe advantage, maybe a plus D4 or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because that's what the guidance spell.
Yeah. So guidance, you just give somebody a D4 on the next skill check.
Yeah. So I don't like. So I feel like it should be
that. Okay, yeah. To be fair, that is a bit powerful, but it is also in specific situations.
I feel like it should be more powerful.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like guidance, it's a cantrip.
Yeah.
You could just, if somebody's got guidance, there's really no reason not to be giving whenever somebody does unless it's like a very pressed for time thing.
Yeah.
Like unless it's in rounds or it's you're kind of pressed for time or you're separated by a certain amount of distance or something. Like somebody's using guidance. It's like, all right, well, are we sneaking? All right, everybody gets an extra D4, you know, because why not? It's a cantrip.
Yeah.
So like this sort of thing, you're going to be rolling a check to see if you would get that bonus.
Sure.
So I feel like that bonus should even be higher.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
DMs try it out and report back. See how well it goes.
Could be like you have a DC and whatever they beat the DC by, they get that bonus.
Oh, interesting. I mean, that's a new mechanic. I would be hesitant to add new mechanics,
exactly.
but hey, try it out. See.
If you're really itching to use these skills in different ways, maybe you could try something out like that.
Yeah. I will mention, because hey, I don't know when else this is going to come up. Intimidation is a skill check that for many years people have complained.
I feel like that deserves to be on this list too.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like, okay, I was actually going to go somewhere else, but that's a good point. Just intimidation in general. I'll mention that. So intimidation has been something for a long time people have complained about. Oh, why has it got to be charisma based? I think somebody used an example I read a long time ago that was like, so you're telling me that this is in 3rd edition when half orcs got a -2 to charisma. You're telling me that the half orc wielding a bloody double axe is less intimidating than the average gnome wielding a cob of corn.
Right.
And, there's some flaws with that argument. But a lot of people, it's hard to wrap their head around charisma being an intimidating thing. A lot of people think, it should be strength-based because I'm big and I'm strong, so I'm going to scare this person.
Right.
I'll give my take on this. Intimidation is not scaring someone. It's part of it. You can scare someone to intimidate them, but intimidating someone is making them think that if they don't do what you're going to say, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
You can bend a steel bar in front of them, and then maybe they'll make the connection, maybe that would be my arm that he is bending and then breaking or whatever. But bending a steel bar, okay, that's one example of using strength. When smashing something, sure. But those are all the exact same. You're threatening them with physical violence. It isn't really you that's scaring them. It's they're afraid of pain. They're not really afraid of you.
Sure.
If someone sits you down and they're like, look, I am going to find your family. I'm going to break every one of their limbs.
Oh, no.
And then I'm going to make you watch as I kill every one of them.
Oh, no.
They don't have to be strong in order to say that to you.
Gabe, why would you say such a thing?
Because I'm intimidating, Jeff. Like,
are you Gabe? Roll the dice. Ah!
There you go. It's a 14. So, like, there is a way to intimidate someone through threat of physical violence. And I mean, what I was saying was physical violence, but it is less, they're not seeing anything actually happen.
Right.
It is entirely the other person making a threat. Like, I am making you believe that I have the resources to get this done. I don't have your family here in the room. If I did, that would be a different kind of intimidation. I'm telling you, I'm promising you that I am going to go out. I'm convincing you that I am going to make the effort to go out and find your family and round them up, injure them in front of you, and make things really bad.
You heard it here, folks.
I sometimes, if I'm editing this podcast and one of us says something that could sound really bad out of context,
yeah,
I will isolate just that and I save it as its own file on my computer.
Great, good. I'm glad that gets saved.
Yep. Anyway, so using strength for intimidation, you can do it. In fact, in 5th edition, that's the example given in the book of using a different ability score for a skill.
Right.
If your DM thinks that strength would be better for intimidation, possibly depending on the situation or just in general, awesome, go for it. Nobody's stopping you. It's right there in the book.
Yeah.
However, the reason that it is charisma by default is that it's less about what you're actually able to do and more about what you're able to convince the person you are going to do.
Sure.
So there is a difference. In the situation with the half-orc wielding the bloody double axe and the gnome wielding cob of corn, I want to know what the gnome is saying that is, what are they doing that is intimidating to me? But also, the half-orc is probably getting advantage for having a bloody double axe that he's holding up to my face as he makes the threat.
Sure.
There's other reasons why, even though someone might have low charisma, there's a reason why they might be good at intimidating because they've got all these circumstantial things.
Right.
Anyway, so what are some other, aside from sitting someone down saying, I'm going to go find your family and I'm going to kill them in front of you. Aside from that, what are some examples of intimidation that you think might come up in a role-playing scenario?
I mean, just a simple like roar.
Okay.
Just screaming or roaring at something might scare it away.
Here's an idea. You're trying to communicate to someone across a very long distance.
Uh-huh.
Maybe let them use their proficiency in intimidation for that.
Yeah, it's just because they're good at shouting.
I guess. I mean, maybe it's a similar. Because what skill check would you use for that? Maybe Constitution.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
But I would, if someone was like, "Hey, I want to make a really loud roar to try and communicate with these people across this canyon or whatever."
Right.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah,
I'd allow that.
So, wait, how do you feel about? A lot of people, specifically people who are like new to D&D, I feel like they see intimidation and they immediately go, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna, in battle, I'm gonna intimidate somebody."
I think they're
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is, actually. There used to be, you could make an intimidate check in battle to give someone the shaken condition, which would gives them -2 on all their attack rolls.
Right.
I
I don't know if that's a thing in
I don't think that's a thing in 5th edition. If so, I would 2 ways to do it. The simplest one, if you're using the help action or something or whatever, like if you're using the help action, you are flavoring it as you are frightening this person so that their defenses are down and then your buddy can come up and attack them or whatever.
Yeah.
Alternately, I would say kind of like what we were saying with performance and acrobatics, make an intimidation check this round. Next round, I'll give you advantage on some other skill check or something.
Right.
If you like, give intimidation on a grapple check or something like that. I wouldn't give them advantage on an attack roll. I think that is pretty powerful.
Sure.
And like what I just described is basically the True Strike cantrip. So nobody would ever need the True Strike cantrip if they were proficient.
Well, the True Strike cantrip is the worst cantrip.
It is. And also it doesn't
cantrips.
Require a skill check.
It requires an action.
I might allow it once per encounter. Once per encounter, you can spend your action now to make an intimidate check. Next round, you can get advantage on your attack or something. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Yeah, like once per encounter, because like you roar once, they're like, oh, okay,
yeah.
well,
yes, it's not going to work again.
Yeah, like they might still be.
I'm gonna kill your family.
Like okay.
Again.
Oh, shoot. Well, I only had the one.
Oh no, he knows about my second family.
I'm really intimidated now.
Yeah.
No, I kind of like that.
Okay.
I kind of like that for like all of those, actually. Like you do a performance check at the beginning of an encounter or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you can do it like once per encounter, or maybe like once per target for certain things. I don't know. I like
situation by situation.
Yeah. I kind of like putting mechanics to, I mean, these unused skills, but also putting mechanics to like flavoring your attacks and stuff. It's like
I do like that.
You're not just charging at a guy and hitting him with a weapon. You're roaring and charging, and
sure.
you're gonna hit him, or you're doing a spinning roundhouse kick, as your monk do athletics check, or or you are doing like a dance and song as you cast your spell, and like you might get a little extra flourish to it. Maybe it does a little bit more damage or something. I don't know. Like maybe it's up to the DM, like if they roll high enough and then like they kind of just go off of what you were describing, like, okay, you were twirling. Okay. Well, then that firebolt, they have to make a dexterity saving throw, or they get dizzy. What's I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, they get
confused. For
right.
A round
Yeah, it spins them. It spins them around, and they get the disadvantage on, or they can only move half their speed next round or something silly.
Sure.
I don't know.
Not bad.
Have fun with it. I don't know.
One idea that just came to my head for intimidation, communicating with somebody who does not share a language with you. Mm-hmm. If what you're trying to say is something aggressive or something you're trying to get them to leave you alone or whatever, intimidation is probably a good skill to use in that case.
Right.
Threats to your family. They
stop
cross
my family.
all boundaries.
Yeah,
they transcend languages.
Right. Yeah. Threats to your loved ones transcends all languages.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So no, I think we came up with a good amount of of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I guess that one actually went quite a bit longer than I was expecting. So I think that'll do it for our regular questions for this week. Well, we do still have our social media questions, and last week's social media question, or 2 week, whatever the last social media question was.
Right.
What is your favorite type of armor? Do you recall what your answer was, Jeff?
Well, my specific favorite armor.
Yep.
Was from the first Baldur's Gate game. And was the Ankeg armor.
Yes, that is correct. And I think one of our listeners applauded you for that.
Yeah, oh, cool.
I think so.
Yeah, because I think it was like a heavy armor. Like I think it was like plate armor or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was green. And like I just liked, you had to kill these monsters, take their parts, and then take them to a blacksmith and make it. And like it's very Monster Hunter, and which
well, cool.
It's kind of been my thing for a while.
I think I said banded mail. I like, just like in general, I like how it looks.
Yeah.
As far as a specific armor, though, there is one that I realized I like a lot more, like a very specific armor that I really like that one of our listeners said. So I'll mention it when we get to that one.
Okay.
So we got a few responses on Facebook. Ryan P said this kind, and then posted a picture of a dog wearing what looks like plate mail or something.
Yeah.
And for anybody who has not been following us on social media, I've been trying to post a photo with each of the social media questions now.
Right.
And for this one, I posted a picture of the famous guinea pig armor.
Yeah. Look,
A number of years ago, there was somebody he made scale mail for his guinea pig, and then was selling the armor on eBay, and the bidding got up to like $20,000.
Oh my.
And then because it went viral, got
Right.
spread around on social media, and then that person backed out because obviously they weren't actually like that. They were clearly just joking, and so it didn't sell. They put it up again, and I don't think it got anywhere near $20,000 or whatever. But anyway,
the person was joking that they were bidding 20,000?
No, I mean they bid it, but then they like deleted their account or something because they weren't actually interested in paying $20,000 for guinea pig armor.
Oh, okay. Well,
because it went viral, you're gonna get people who are just trolling.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So unfortunately, the troll won in that case.
Yeah.
But so Ryan P posted a picture of a dog, a pug, it looks like.
Yeah, I think so.
I think plate mail or something. Then Ryan P said, as a serious answer, Geralt's starting armor for The Witcher 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty solid armor. It's like a chain and leather.
Okay.
Gherkin.
Sure. Jerkin. A gherkin is a pickle.
A gherkin is a pickle.
Yes.
You're right.
Kyle S says the Agathis brand of armor is really hot right now. Or should I say cold?
It's
the warlock armor of Agathis.
Oh, right.
Is a spell that does cold damage
you're right.
anybody that attacks you. Haley B says, well, now that I've seen this picture, I'm going to have to go with guinea pig armor. Yeah, there you go. David P says, Kastenbrust with scale tassets with a hoopaland underneath and a bicoque helmet. Mail trimmed with copper rings and maybe rundels for voiders.
It's very specific.
Well, thank you, David P.
It's very.
I understood some of those words.
Sure.
With is one of them that I understood. Maybe is another word. Scale. A. My favorite word.
Yep.
Brandon B says, always a fan of Lorica segmentata. I don't know what that is.
Right.
This is the episode where our listeners make us look stupid.
Wait, is
Ian W posted a picture of someone cutting through a plate like they're going to eat it. But I think the joke is plate mail.
Okay.
But they are very easily cutting through the plate with a butter knife.
Wait, Gabe, I just want to go back. Is there a time when we don't look like idiots? Is there a time
Moving on. Sean M says dragon something.
Something?
Just plain cool. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it just dragon plate mail, dragon scale mail.
I guess.
I don't know.
And then Jeff B says half helm codpiece.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know what that is, and I don't think I want to know what that is.
I mean,
so moving on. Over on Reddit, Alistar the Minotaur says, Mithril breastplate. From back in my 3.5 Pathfinder days, I was able to use all of my dex bonus and have strong armor that didn't slow me down. There's nothing like having an AC of 21 before any magical enhancements or even a shield. It was perfect for 2-weapon fighting.
Yeah. Breastplate's great, and then in the earlier editions, the mithril.
Yeah, mithril reduced the armor down a weight category.
Yeah,
so you could have medium armor that counted as light armor for nearly every purpose.
Right.
So yeah,
I think it upped the max dex.
It did.
Bonus
Yeah,
or something.
it increased the max dex bonus as well. Over on Twitter, Crit Academy says, my wizard wit would say mage armor, no need to clean or repair. Also, it's far more comfortable than any of that silly metal. I mean, really, how do those brutes go to the bathroom in those things? Well, apparently with the half helm codpiece. Kara Karn says, it makes the game ridiculously easy, but I love the look of the Shield Weaver armor that Aloy gets in Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4.
Oh, cool.
I've never played Horizon Zero Dawn, but that name sounds cool.
It's a really cool game that I would love to have played, but it came out the same time as Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
so I just I couldn't bring myself. I couldn't take myself away from Zelda.
Yeah. R.I.P. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Yodelea Hihu says, really depends on the build. No dex, plate armor. At least a +2 dex, breastplate. High dex, studded leather. Yeah, I'm one of those ridiculous min-maxers here to ruin everyone's fun.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, breastplate for sure is breastplate is real solid.
Sure. It is pretty solid compared to chainmail, which is
bunch of
holes.
Bunch of holes in it.
On Discord, Dustin says, Mithril chain shirt. It's light enough for all classes to wear without penalty, can be worn under clothing, and can be slept in.
Oh, sure.
That's true. Peace Roy Pancake says, female armor, that's actual armor.
Yeah.
No boob dent, no bikini armor, etc.
There you go.
Probably the only example of like a boob window in fantasy that I liked was in the book Curse of the Azure Bonds.
Okay.
It is the book was just called Azure Bonds, but it was based on a computer game called Curse of the Azure Bonds. On the cover of the book and on like the title screen of the game, the main character is wearing a chain shirt it's a female character. She's got a very clear boob window in the chain shirt.
Sure.
But in the book, that is explained because it is ritual armor because she is meant to be a sacrifice in a ritual.
Oh.
So the idea is she's wearing this ritual armor that they can stab. Right. Now, I understand that was written after the fact to justify the art.
Right, yeah.
But I still like it better than all of the other stuff that's out there.
That's kind of interesting, at least. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, all right. I mean, right. That is just an excuse. It feels like an excuse to draw boobies.
Sure.
But I mean, like, at least it's a creative one.
Yeah, I mean, hey, someone put a little bit of thought into it at least. You know, Collins B says plot armor, but only when I have it. Yeah. Stilton Kupo 84 says I normally like scaled mail because it grants the best AC with minimal negatives on speed and checks. However, if I'm playing a character for whom Dex is a big dump stat, then full plate and heavy shield all the way. I can always roleplay terrible speed and maneuverability for comic relief. E. Thompson 03 says, my favorite armor? None. Monks are badass because of their armor class going up simply by not having any on.
Yep.
And then here's the one that I referred to earlier. Jason E. says, celestial armor from 3.5 and Pathfinder. It was a mithril breastplate that is so thin and fine it can be worn under clothing and fits like a second skin. Also, it can sprout angelic wings and let the wielder fly.
What?
So yeah, Ichi had this armor in the campaign I played with him back in 3.5, and I think he eventually swapped it out for bracers of armor because his dex got so high that even the ridiculously high max dex bonus from the celestial armor was still too low. So basically, by swapping it out for bracers of armor, I got like a +1 or +2 to my AC.
Sure.
So it's just it's such a cool armor. It is a breastplate, and I wonder if maybe it was chainmail because I feel like I remember the chains themselves being like made of mithril or silver or something. Whatever it was, it is like armor that is so thin and so fine that you can wear it under armor and nobody would even tell you you're wearing armor. So I'm a big fan of armor that doesn't look like armor.
Okay.
Because I hate how armor looks most of the time.
Sure.
So when I was playing a character that I don't want this character to be wearing a breastplate. Just give him this thing. Yeah. And it let him fly. If it weren't for that armor, he would have died after he got swallowed by a shark. Instead, he survived after being eaten by a shark.
Right, yeah. He survived that.
Yes.
Flew out of it.
Yes. And then one more, Floofy Shoob says, as a longtime TSR era wizard, my favorite armor is no armor. So there you go. So yeah, those were the responses to the last one. I think some pretty good responses all around.
Yeah.
And then the next social media question that we have is, have you ever hurt yourself playing a tabletop RPG?
Oh, but no.
Have you ever suffered any tabletop RPG related injuries? Now, Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for this.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, like
I've stepped on a D4 at some point. I'm sure. I guess maybe that counts.
right. Yeah. Gee, I'm trying to think. Banged my knee on a table or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything like anytime I got so animated that I might have injured myself.
I'm sure I've gotten a paper cut from a player's handbook or something.
Although, the time we played regularly, we were like in our 20s.
Yeah.
I feel like if
we were made of adamantine back then.
Right. I feel like if I played more often,
you pick up your books and wrench your back.
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, I've injured my back in the past. So I feel like if I bent over a table wrong to move a miniature, I could throw out my back.
Sure.
So that's
if I recall, you did hurt your back playing a board game a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like really soon after I threw it out. So
Sure,
it was just, it was just a bad idea.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, I'm like I said, I don't have a good answer, but I'm hoping some of our listeners do. I hope some of our
you hope they got
some
injured?
of our listeners have hurt themselves. No, I just a funny story here and there would be nice.
Hope everybody's okay.
Yes, I hope everybody has recovered from their injuries.
Right, but we would like to hear the story.
Yes,
we're interested.
Yeah,
we're interested in your agony.
Of course. All right, so that'll do it for our questions for today. But before we close out, let's wind down a little bit. Let's take a deep breath. Oh, my back.
Oh, jeez.
Let's remember those who have come before us, who have given their lives that we may have a better world to live in, as we toss another log onto the funeral pyre. Today's funeral pyre was submitted by Alistar the Minotaur via email, and the story is, this was one of the PCs in the homebrewed world I run in my campaign. Vlad is a half-orc brawler for Pathfinder. After setting out to find the Fountain of Youth and finding it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, he defeated the Hematomancer, Hetomatomancer, aka a blood mage, guarding it, by tackling him while he had a bunch of explosive runes pages in his back pocket, setting them off. The resulting explosion killed both the BBEG and Vlad, and cracking the Fountain of Youth and sending its waters all over. So I guess it was all it was cracked up to be.
Oh, jeez, Gabe.
The waters, however, brought Vlad back to life.
Ooh.
Upon his and the party's escape from the caverns, he decided to open the International House of Pancake. Yes, singular. This restaurant and Vlad have been a staple of every game I've ran ever since. He serves pancakes and room temperature vodka.
Okay.
I think this was actually meant to be a retirement village.
I mean, he did technically die as well.
He did. I think it still qualifies. I'm going to leave it as a funeral pyre for now because I still haven't perfected the intro to the retirement village.
Sure. So he did technically die. He does technically die.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's raise a glass in memory of Vlad, who got a second chance to crack everybody up. Clink. All right, that'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the funeral pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. For show notes, links to media mentioned on the show, and running lists of questions and magic items, go to interpartyconflict.com. You can join the discussion on social media. Check us out on Facebook, check us out on Reddit, on our Interparty Discord. You can find us on Twitter at InPartyConflict for our weekly social media questions. If you answer them, your answers might end up on the show. Find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, anywhere you download podcasts. Please give us a rating or review. Please subscribe, or just tell a friend about us. We would love some word of mouth. We would love to grow our audience, and you can help us do that. You can also support the show monetarily by checking us out at patreon.com/interpartyconflict. We have a few different tiers, so anything you can spare, even $1 a month, would go towards making the show better, and you'll get bonus content for it. Jeff, tell us about FriendQuest.
FriendQuest is our YouTube channel where we play video games,
yes,
and we actually have a new video up.
Awesome.
It's a very long one. We are moving to a more longer video format.
Okay. Instead of like one episode a day that's like 10 minutes or whatever.
We're going to do like one
just the whole thing.
We're going to do like one a week that's like an hour or so, you know, like one we put up was like 2 hours long. I don't think
Sure.
they're all going to be that long, but we wanted to at least start off with
Sure.
something big. So
I mean, personally, I just wait till they're all done and then just watch all of them in a row.
I
but
mean, that's kind of that's kind of the thinking behind it too.
Yeah.
So
okay, cool. Speaking of video games, you can check out my side project, the Arcade Memories Podcast. If you'd like to submit anything for it, send it to arcadememoriespodcast@gmail.com. Also, head over to bit.ly/interpartyconflict to take a short survey about our show. What you like, what you don't like, etc. And just for taking it, you'll get 2 free printable board games courtesy of Mary and Tom over at hollandspiel.com. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hackers RPG. So Jeff, until next time.
hold on, I gotta roll a performance check for this outro. Oh, dang it.